All right, we are currently right in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month. It runs from September 15th to October 15th. Our state is full of rich Hispanic, Chicano, and Latino history, and one of the places helping make sure Coloradoans know all about it is History Colorado. They're currently running a couple different exhibits. Dr. Lucha Martinez de Luna, the curator of Latino history and culture at History Colorado, is joining me now. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. All right, first off, tell me a little bit about some of the exhibits that are being shown to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month at History Colorado.
Well, we have two wonderful permanent exhibits. One is Borderlands, which essentially explains the very kind of beginnings of Latino presence in Colorado and, of course, northern New Mexico. We have this border that is between New Mexico and Colorado, but the reality is that border split a cultural group that very much still recognizes this area. And so the Borderlands kind of describes that. And then another exhibit that is permanent as well is El Movimiento. El Movimiento highlights social justice movements throughout history here in Colorado that begins shortly after 1848 with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, where Mexico loses a portion, a fairly significant portion of their territory to the United States, and part of that is Colorado. So it kind of starts describing what happens after 1848 in terms of social justice movements. And then right now we also have a temporary exhibit called Viva la Causa, and it essentially highlights social justice movements, two in particular, the Civil Rights Movement, or El Movimiento, and Black Lives Matter. So it's kind of an interpretation based on artists' perspectives, what they're seeing during these two movements, the very early years of El Movimiento, and that will be there till mid-October. So if you have an opportunity, please try and visit it.
That's very interesting and very important work as well. Is there any of these? Are there any of these exhibits that kind of stand out to you, or that you want to kind of explain the process behind it a little more?
Probably Viva la Causa. I shared some photos of essentially that process because I think that sometimes when people hear, what is a curator, what do they do? Right. But the reality is a lot of the work that I do is in the community. I'm rarely just sitting at a desk. I'm out in the community hearing stories, safekeeping those stories, and every once in a while we have an opportunity to tell those stories in exhibits. So Viva la Causa is one of them. It was a grant from the National Endowment of the Arts, and essentially it was an opportunity to bring in more stories into the collection. One thing that is very difficult is, my position at History Colorado has only existed for 5 years. So we're talking about decades of history that have not been really preserved at History Colorado. So trying to catch up, National Endowment of the Arts, it was an excellent opportunity to do that work of catching up. So I was actually able to offer artists some type of reimbursement for their work, and this exhibit highlights that work, where I was going to their studios to see their work. They were telling me stories, doing oral histories, and you can see that essentially we have quite a large collection at History Colorado, and when we have an opportunity to exhibit it, it is precisely for this reason, to really highlight the communities, the people, and the artists who are telling these stories and actually are our storytellers.
Wow, that's wonderful. Kind of speak to the importance of highlighting the Hispanic, Chicano, and Latino history in Colorado, because I know that it's very deep-rooted to the history overall of the state, but kind of speak to that. Like, why is it so important that we do have these sorts of exhibits?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned before, there's always been a Latino-Mexican presence here. And when I mean always, is our history in terms of the United States history. The Spanish arrived in northern New Mexico in 1598. And in fact, there are still many families, including mine, that arrived at that time. And so this is really important history that has not been included in our textbooks. And so part of my work is to include these stories. And it's really significant because it also explains the diversity that already existed here so long ago. And when we tell these stories, it's very nice to have visuals, which is very difficult sometimes, especially as we're going further back, because we have generations that we have lost these stories. So it's critical when there are opportunities like receiving grants to be able to find these stories, and they're still there. And these stories help to really explain the dynamics and the inclusivity from the very beginnings. Like, for example, the Constitution of Colorado is actually in Spanish and in German.
Yeah.
So it really, really depicts who is here, and it celebrates the people that were here.
And celebrating that is
right.
very important. Is there anything else that you think people should know about History Colorado? How can folks find these exhibits or more information?
Yeah, definitely visit our website. And if you're interested in knowing what kind of collections we have, for example, representing Latinos, you can actually, on our website, you can kind of peruse through our collection and do some research. We have wonderful archives. We have a wonderful center where you can sit and do as much research. You can see the treaties that were in southern Colorado, and it's a fantastic experience. So you're welcome, anybody is welcome to go, because of course our collections in History Colorado, they belong to the people of Colorado,
of course,
which is very different than a private collection. So this is available to anybody who is interested in learning more.
Wonderful, very valuable stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. And I encourage everyone to kind of carry on this cultural curiosity beyond Hispanic Heritage Month. We'll be right back.